Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome back to another edition of Carl's Conversations. We're so glad that you're here with us this evening. We have a very interesting topic today, and I'm sure that some of you see that topic title and you say, "Oh no, what are they going to do?" But don't worry. It is like it always is. Carl's Conversations is a safe place to have difficult conversations. And Lord knows our nation is in a difficult place when it comes to politics. And so we're going to have this conversation and see if we can make heads or tails out of it. I'm so pleased with our panel this evening. We have a small panel, and that means it's going to be an intimate conversation. And so I really appreciate that. Our first time guest is Miss Kimberly Cates Bell. I so much appreciate her taking time. She thought so much of Carl's Conversations until she in the whip. And she tried to make it back home, but she has joined us, and we thank God for her. Very much thankful that she decided to join us. And we have a regular. I told Paulette before, I might have to start cutting her some checks. She's been here so many times. So soon as we start making some money, Paulette, I'm gonna give you a little bit. And Kim, you come on 2 more times. I had to start paying you too. She said thumbs up. Oh wow. So ladies, this is kind of what I wanted to get into. And hello to all the audience that is out there. God bless y'all. Make sure you start a watch party. Share the video. Let somebody know that Carl's Conversations is on. And we're gonna try to chop this thing up. So I really want to talk about where our nation is right now in this transition. And I want to set this up like this. There's Joy. Are you and Joy really sisters, Kim, or y'all just call each other sisters? She's trying to take it off of mute. And there's Chris.
Put on mute.
There you go. You off mute now.
Am I? Because it's still showing. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, we are blood sisters. Same mom and daddy.
Oh, wonderful. I didn't know if she
Although,
sister or
I don't know
sister.
if my mom claims her though. We'll see.
Oh, I see. That's for another. That's for another.
I'm just playing. Yeah, that's my big sister.
Wonderful. So I want to set this up. We know that we're in an interesting time in our nation's transition. We just had a presidential election. The incumbent candidate, President Donald Trump, has been presumptuously beaten in the election. But we know, kids Joyce, and we got the same mama there. But we know that President Trump has not done anything in a traditional way. So, there is nothing that he's doing now that I think surprises a lot of us. And I don't want to sound like I'm bashing him. I'm making very obvious observations. And I want everybody to know, listen, when you talk about the Electoral College, there is a process. The issue is the process of the Electoral College normally doesn't have this much attention because normally by now, if there are no serious legal challenges, the person who has lost the election would concede. And the concession speech is really a courtesy. It is nothing by law that requires it. So President Trump is not required to give a concession speech. And I want to make you guys aware of a few things. I'm talking about our audience, just so you know, the Electoral College on December 8th, that's the deadline for resolving all disputes. So it was built into the Constitution that they know that sometimes elections would be disputed. And so that's why they don't, do anything too formal until December 8th to give a chance for all that stuff to happen. And then on December 14th, that's when all of the state's electors, that's when they cast their ballots for the president. And then I think it's January 6th, I think it is. Let me double check and make sure here. January 6th, that's when the ballots are counted in a joint session of Congress. And then, of course, we know on January 20th, that is the inauguration, and she's back. All right. So I just want to let everybody know we are aware of that. I know some people may not think that we're aware of that. We are aware of those deadlines. What we want to talk about today is, it appears to me, And I can't tell you exactly what Kim thinks or what Paulette thinks or any of our audience thinks because we don't do too much prepping. But it appears that President Trump at this point is on something different. There have been over 30 lawsuits that his team has filed that have either been dismissed or withdrawn by his own legal team. There have been several of his own lawyers who have told him that they're not going to play anymore. Right? They're just not going to represent him anymore. He has appointed Rudy Giuliani, who has not been a trial lawyer in many years. He is heading that legal effort. And for me, I'm kind of feeling like, man, at this point, this is not a serious legal challenge. It does not appear to me that there was any conspiracy by Democrats or Republicans, as far as I'm concerned, for widespread voter fraud. I got my own opinions about the attempt at voter intimidation and and all that kind of stuff, but that's a whole different deal. We see that I think Kim's video has probably frozen for a minute. So while she's getting that together, Paulette, I'll ask you, what are you thinking about what's happening to our democracy right now? And do you think that our current president is out of control?
I think our current president has been out of control from the moment he stepped foot in the White House into the present moment. Um, it's really so bad leadership. What you would call sore loser. Um, it's just out of control, and it's out of control from the beginning to the end. The people that are supporting him out of control because he's out of control. He set that example. The people that are trying to do the right thing are suffering from it because when they tell him as president, you have no basis, he's firing them. When they say, as president, we were there, everything was done right. No, you're fired. I'm sorry. And he went into office doing the same thing. When he went into office, and those people that could not and would not get behind him and his agenda, then he dismissed them. So now he's at the end of his reign, and those that are not standing by him or standing beside him and choosing to do what's right for the good of the people, they're being dismissed. And everybody is doing what's right for the good of the American people except him. And it baffles me to think that you're supposed to be a leader, but you're not leading by example. You're doing everything you think that you could. Me neither. Tracy, I am never shocked by his followers. It really does not shock me. But he's doing everything that he could think to do. To deter people from saying that he lost the race, even to members of Congress calling and threatening governors and people in Georgia saying you need to get your folk in check. We need these votes, bruh. It's over. It's done. It's a wrap. I don't know how you want to put it. It's done. And me personally, this is my personal opinion. This has nothing to do with Carl's conversation. These views and remarks are those of mine and not necessarily those of Carl's conversation. I want a bucket of popcorn and to be front center on CNN when they haul his behind out of there.
Well, okay.
I would like to say, in my humble opinion, from the time that he indicated that he was running for president, from then when he became the president, he has run the United States, and since he has become the commander in chief, he has run it as though he has run it as the apprentice. He has, I don't know, he has changed individuals. You're fired, you're fired, you're fired. I don't know if any of us can name any of the people that the individuals that have been in the specific, positions. I just saw a person the other day, Scaramucci, it's so many people. It's a long list most people, when someone serves, you can say, okay, it's this person. It's like a laundry list. It's like credits in a movie. It's embarrassing. For me, this is just my humble opinion. To me, it is an embarrassment that the United States has been represented this way when you have veterans that are being called losers and sissies and wusses. And then the families of the veterans who put their lives on the line, that have made sacrifices for us to be protected, for them to serve the way with their lives, and for them to just be belittled. And when it has come down to, you use these bully tactics, I think it's just so, it's it's just really an embarrassment. When you are a president, I think it's for someone that is high regard, an eloquent, an esteemed person, um, classy, just all across the board. Someone that is classy. You may not agree with them and all of what it is that they do, the policies, but overall, you can appreciate and you can respect with them, and you can agree to disagree. You know, but this individual.
Yeah, I don't think we're surprised. Kim, what do you think? What do you think is happening to our democracy here? Do you think that we have a president that is out of control?
I definitely think that we have a president that's out of control. Actually, to be honest, I believe the Republican Party as a whole is out of control. I'm 42, so I still remember Republicans being the party that touted morals, values. They touted biblical principles, um, military, country first, all that stuff. But here it is that you allow this petulant child, that's our idiot in chief, to run amok in the White House. And now all of a sudden you can't govern. And to me is really showing everyone that this is what America looks like when Republicans govern our country. Because this man is out golfing and people are dying. There are lines that are being formed um, where people are trying to feed their families before Thanksgiving. The Republicans have abandoned the what is it called? I can't think of it right offhand, but the stimulus package. They've abandoned that, coming up with a deal before the end of the year, before it actually cancels out or expires, and they've abandoned trying to help people with the coronavirus. So you mean to tell me that you are more focused on trying to overturn the results of the election than actually saving lives? And Republicans are standing by quiet and not saying anything. To me, that shows what a country looks like when Republicans govern. They put themselves first. Mitch McConnell, what is the other one from South Carolina?
Oh yeah, Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham. They say, trust what I say, right? But it's really that saying, whereas you hear what I say, but what is that saying? I think it's like
do as I say, but not as I do.
That's it.
Okay, yeah. So it's the one where it's like, don't pay attention. Are you gonna listen to me or your lying ears? That's kind of the way it has us going. Where he clearly said about the Supreme Court, and then when it became befitting for them, it kind of went away. It was like, oh well, he's within his rights. He's within his rights. So the issue that I have is that they continue to peddle in this conspiracy that the president has going on, instead of just telling him to go somewhere and sit down. Go somewhere and sit yourself down. Like your time is over. It's almost 3 million difference in voting, but you're still talking. Why are you here? You know, do what you do best, which you never wanted to govern a country anyway. So go sit down.
Right. Understood. Listen, there's something that Chris Tucker said, who was a frequent panelist here. He said Trump is definitely a sore loser. The bigger concern is that nothing that he is or has done is illegal. Uh, is this harmful to democracy? No, not really. There will be a return to civility in a post-Trump era. Well, I agree with most of that. One thing I'll say is this, Chris. I think your overall tone is correct. But democracy is a living, breathing experiment. And I think that we're not at a point now where it is irreparably damaged. I don't think that we're at a point where the damage is so great that it's going to fall apart. I don't think our democracy is that fragile. But I think that if we don't keep the rails up and ready, he will definitely, he being Donald Trump, will take us to a place where democracy will be run amok, because I believe that he does not have a problem at all with being a dictator. And it appears to me, I said appears to me, that some that follow him wouldn't mind that either. Now, I'm not fooled to think that the the 72, 73 million people that voted for him all believe one thing. I don't think that all of them are racist. Don't even believe that most of them are racist. I think that people vote for them for different reasons. But there is a contingency among them that is just out of here. Chris wrote something else, that Trump is still subject to the law. So there is only so much that he can do. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't look good, but I don't think it is destructive to democracy. Some things just can't be done. I would agree. He talks a good game. He talks a good game. So this is what I want to talk about just for a second. And I'm going to come right to you, Paulette. Kim said something that I think is cool. It's not just him, but it's the party that he represents. And, you know, I'm wondering, they see what he's doing. They know more than we do because they have access to information that we don't. And I'm wondering, is it those 72, 73 million votes that he got that makes them afraid to speak up? And I'm not saying that anybody has to be disrespectful, right? But you would think that somebody of prominence, because, you know, he's not going to just listen on the one-on-one, may not even let you get there, but somebody got to lead the charge and say, Mr. President, it is time. It is time for the nation to move on. I'm very disappointed that we're not hearing that from his party. What do you think, Paulette?
Ooh, we. Okay, so first thing, they're not telling him out of fear. And I think George just, they're not telling him out of fear because, one, they don't want to lose their job. Two, they don't want to become subject to the administration that we're about to inherit. And dare I say, they don't want to become subject to a female of color. They don't want to be subject to a female, period. Nevertheless, one of color. And it's two different issues. Then they feel like if they can get and contain control. But the problem is some of the Republicans jumped ship. They may still remain saying that they are supporting the Republican Party, but they cannot stand by what our current up is doing. So a lot of them say, you know what, I can't deal with this anymore. I can't deal with the lies. I can't deal with the cheating. I can't deal with the he said, she say. I can't deal with the tweeting. I can't deal with you saying one thing and then come back the next day and say, oh, I was just joking. I was just kidding. Bruh, you have a whole country to run. Ain't nobody got time for you to be joking and kidding when we got 250,000 plus people dying of a disease that we did not have to be subject to had you not been such a racist individual and throw out the previous plan that said, this disease is coming. Here's what you need to do. I gave you the playbook, but because somebody else came up with it, it wasn't you. You want to throw it out And now look where we are. 250,000 plus people dying because you didn't like the president beforehand. What kind of sense does that make? This is larger than you. You can't go into the presidency thinking about just you. You have to think about what's good for these millions upon millions of people you have been elected to lead. Get out of yourself, get over yourself, say goodnight, cut the lights off, and let's move on.
Thank you. I do want to say something. I'm going to come to you in just a moment, Kim. It's not all Republicans. We know that the Lincoln Project was made of prominent Republicans, very well respected Republicans. Matter of fact, even many who are known conservatives who just did not think that Donald Trump's leadership really spoke for their traditional Republican and conservative values. So it seems that you have a lot of Republicans who are not currently in office, who have spoken up and spoken up well. But it seems like the ones who are in office, and that has always been an issue for me. When the voters decide they don't want you, that's fine. Go get another job. You're a talented, skilled person. You had to be that way to at least get to that office. You can go do something else. But to sell out for a vote, it's not new, but it's definitely not dead either. So what do you think about that, Kim, when it comes to the Republican Party? It seems like they may be a little split on this thing. You're still on mute, my friend. There you go.
Sorry. They are split, and rightfully so, because as a human being, his actions are totally opposite of what it is just not palatable to most human beings. I'll say that. The 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 point when he was taking away, kids from the border, ripping them from their families, things like that, that's not a hard concept to get behind and say, hey, this is not right. This is not right. So I understand that they're split because it's humanistic to feel a certain way about him. My fear is, and this is touching on something a little bit different. My fear is that we will end up wanting to basically kiss the Republicans' ring and come to the middle so much that it's going to turn into another situation where President Obama was trying to reach over the aisle so much that we allowed their agenda to get in the way. And so McConnell and a lot of them got what they wanted, but a lot of the initiatives and desires of the Democratic Party, they weren't able to be successful in that. And then what did the Republicans say years later? Oh, when President Obama was in the office, he didn't get this done, he didn't get that done, they throw it in your face. Essentially, they turn your record where you weren't able to focus on those things because you were trying to meet in the middle so much that you don't get your agenda. I'm tired of Republicans being punks. Democrats being punks. We're the party of punks. And I say Democrat, but I'd rather vote for a Democrat than a Republican, to be honest. But I could really be independent. I'm for who is for my people, who is for my interests. I can support whomever is good. But I'm tired of Democrats being punks. Like even when you hear Chuck Schumer on the floor speaking, he thinks he's being like charismatic and clever with his wording. But when they talk on Fox, they hold no punches. They go in. But then you're the party, you're trying to be so civil, and like Michelle Obama is, when they go low, you go high. Yeah, enough of that. We tired of going high. The only way we're gonna go high right now is if we get some of our things achieved and accomplished. Tired of that. Black people, African Americans, and alike people of color, whatever. We have an agenda. We need to stay focused on what we need to do, what we need to get accomplished. Then we can take the high road all day. Come out swinging and fighting and getting our agenda accomplished.
I can appreciate that. I want to address something that Joy said. Joy is one of our viewers. She said, "My fear is that the president's actions will lead to civil war, as the Republican Party will feel cheated, and it's as if their votes or voices were not heard." I hear you, Joy, and I have been listening. I've been doing a lot of listening, and this is what I think. And by the way, Kim, Chris Tucker agrees with you. He said it talk too soft. I'm gonna deal with that in a minute. I'm an independent for a reason, but I want to deal with what Joy said. Here's what bothers me about some of what I hear, and I'm not putting all this on every Trump voter, but the ones who have the microphone right now seem to be talking this type of craziness. It seems that when it comes to cheating and voting, there are some people that think that only Democrats cheat. Last time I checked, cheaters cheat, and I don't think that there's anybody of a civil mind that will think that cheating belongs to one party. Anytime there is something to win or lose, there is a propensity for some people to cheat. Some people want to win so bad that they'll do anything to get it. To some, there is no honor. And I don't believe that there are any more Republican nor Democrat cheaters. Cheaters will cheat. We're talking about widespread, planned, systemic cheating, which I do not believe has happened. The president's legal team brought many suits with accusations of cheating. We have seen some of the transcripts from some of the court cases where they have been asked straight up, do you suspect fraud? And the answer has been consistently no. So there appears to be one posture in public where there is no legal recourse for lying. And then there's another posture when you're in the court of law. So this is what I'm saying to Joy. Yeah, I do believe there are some who are in their heart, they want civil war. And I don't want to use divisive language here, but believe me, there are forces in our government at all levels who get paid to keep an eye on groups and people like that. And if you don't believe that they are on their post right now, believe that is true. And I would say to anybody who does not feel safe, do something about your safety. Now, do something about your safety. Now, I would understand at this point if we had gone through some of these court cases and we have discovered that there has been some cheating, right? Some of the things that are being brought up are irregularities that happen in every election that are really administrative things, not cheating things. And they are being put out as if there is some scheme to rob them. Now, Trump won in 2016 with a much slimmer margin than what he got beat now, as they continue to count. And some states are still doing a little bit of counting and certify. Joe Biden is now at almost 80 million votes. There's never been a president in history, a presidential candidate that has got that many votes. I was listening to some stuff the other day, and several people were asked, do they believe that President Trump really got 72 million votes? Yeah. Do you really believe, because at that time Biden had about 70, do you really believe Biden got 77? No. And then when they were asked why they didn't believe it, none of it was coherent. None of the answers were coherent. And so I'm saying, I understand, because your leader made you think that it was going to be cheating. He's been talking about cheating since he was elected. He said when they told him that, Hillary won the popular vote by 3 million votes, he said, yeah, because illegals voted based on no facts. And now, right, that you have been beat by a much wider popular vote margin, we're still throwing out cheating. And remember, he said, and I thought this was very dangerous, the only way that I can lose is if they cheat. Wow. That's not a very good statement coming from the leader of your Chris Tucker. You're right. I did say that. Cheaters cheat. That's right. Liars lie, cheaters cheat, and all the other good stuff. So Kim, I'm going to start with you, and I think Kim's video is frozen right now. We'll wait. Are you good now? Oh yeah, Kim, I'm going to start with you on this one. What do you think about the fear of civil war and Trump's some of Trump's supporters feeling like they got cheated? What do you think about that?
Are you able to repeat that one more time? I'm going through
Sure.
these backwoods. You know how it is in Virginia.
Yeah. What do you feel as far as Trump's supporters? Some of them feeling like they have been cheated and their voices have not been heard. There was some systemic cheating going on in the election. What would you say to them?
Wow. So it was in and out, but I think you're asking. I think what I heard you say was, what do I think about Trump's people feeling like they've been cheated?
Correct.
Is that what you were saying?
Yes, ma'am. Correct. You're right.
Okay. Uh, it's interesting because and this may be an unpopular opinion here. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Tell me.
Are you ready? Okay.
I'm ready.
All right. I do believe that there is voter fraud. Not voter fraud per se, but I do feel that Russia has tampered with our election system. The reason I feel this way is quite a few reasons, and that's why Trump is so mad. To be honest with you, he's so angry because he did the same thing in 2016. He would have won again this year had it not been for the saving grace of the mail-in ballots. You remember he was trying so hard to get us to not do the mail-in ballots because he wanted to be able to have Russia mess with the voting tabulations. And you can't mess with hand ballots, because it's not computer based, it's, hand ballots. So here's the thing. When you heard that Russia has stolen, or what do you call it? It was in Wisconsin, a hacker took 2.3 million of Trump's re-election campaign money. They hacked into the computer system and took that much money. The president said nothing, absolutely nothing. How do you go in and take $2.3 million of your re-election and nobody's saying anything besides the Republicans from the RNC in Wisconsin? They're like, hey, our money is gone. But I believe that was the money. It was 2 weeks before the election. That was the money that was used to pay Russia for them to mess with the voting system. And when you owe money to a country, and as we already know, Trump has already said multiple times that he does not do business with U.S. They put their money in foreign countries. Believe him. When Trump tells you that he said something that no other president has ever said. The election is rigged. The election is rigged. This and that. When he tells you something, you have to believe him. But now we're in a state where he either has to show it. It's like playing poker. You either got to fold your hands and not show anything, or you have to show your hands. So I think he's so angry, even at the guy who said that it was the most secure election that we've ever had. He's so pissed at this man because he knows that something happened with the voting system and it didn't work in his favor. But what they want to constantly do is to have, they want to throw out some information and then have the reporters and the not Secret Service, but the intelligence people, the secret, not the intelligence departments. They want them to go and find the irregularities. So he's telling you that they exist, but he wants them to, because what other thing is he going to do? He's going to have to say, hey, I know that they've been messed with because this and that reason, but he can't do that. So he's frustrated and trying to find another way to do it. That's my feeling. If you look up unhack the vote, it's called unhackthevote.com. You will see where Pennsylvania had irregularities in the 2016 election. I literally was watching that election where they didn't have the mail-in ballots at that time that year, and I could literally see where Hillary was here and Trump was down here, right? He was down here at like 11 or so o'clock. They switched, and it was like Hillary took his position. Trump took her position and started to go up, 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 and Hillary took Donald's position and started going down. I was watching it happen before my eyes. That's why he was so surprised. They said that he was surprised when he won the election. Why would you be surprised that many people voted for you if you did what you were supposed to do? No, he was surprised that it worked. He was surprised that it actually worked. But like I said, go to Unhack the Vote, and you'll see.
I can't say I all the way agree, but I think that's an interesting opinion, and I think that made this a very interesting show. What do you think, Paulette?
I agree. I was sitting there, I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay, definitely gonna go to unhackthevote.com and see what's going on. But I don't feel like there's going to be a civil war type issue going on. We may have some rioting or people angry and upset like they are now. I agree with you. There are some listening ears out there waiting to see when and if something is going to try to jump off in their area. And then there are going to be, some influx of police security in the streets. But what Kim said really gives you something to think about and home in, because I remember seeing his face when they said that he won the election. He was in total disbelief, and I was like, wow, he really didn't think he was going to win it, but what you said makes sense as the reason why he felt like he wasn't going to win. And the whole thing about don't do the mail-in votes this time, go to the poll. Yeah, all of that will come together. And President Biden kept saying, listen, coronavirus is out there. Mail your votes in, especially for the elderly people. And a lot of them, me in particular, I'm like, I don't trust it because there are too much stuff going on with what he's trying to do. As the old parrot say, I don't trust Donald Trump as far as I can see him. And I've never laid eyes on him outside of television. I don't trust him. Everything that he, like what my mom used to say, he keep a lie in his cheek like a chipmunk. So he just keep a lie in his cheek. And now with this tidbit of information, it's like he keep stuff on his hand. I've always known that, or thought that he was in bed with the Russians. So that would go hand in hand and make sense. But all I can say is yourself likewise.
This is what I think is dangerous. I can agree or disagree with what we're talking about here. The point is, his presence has been very effective in making the Americans have very serious doubt in the integrity of our election system. And that's what, if anything bothers me, it's that. And I'm hoping that by the next quadrennial election that we will have some of this fixed. But I think that a lot of people really don't understand the American election system. The states run the elections, and then it's broken down to localities. Prince William County is going to do things a little differently than Stafford County, as long as they align within the boundaries set by the state of Virginia. You understand what I'm saying? Because all politics are local. You may have something going down in Culpeper that you don't have to give consideration for in Prince George's County, two geographically different locations. So we have an amalgamation of locales. What I would love for the people who are some of the Trump supporters who believe that they got cheated. Look at Georgia, for instance. Now, you have a Republican governor and a Republican administration. Your Republican Secretary of State has given his seal of approval officially and publicly that he ran a very fair and very dependable election. Mm-hmm. Now, all of the dirt that was thrown at Georgia, the county that had the most irregularities was that chip that didn't get counted. That was in a Republican county. And it robbed more votes from Trump than anything. But you didn't hear a lot about that on Fox. Had that been in a Democrat county, they would have cried bloody murder. So what I'm getting at is the same thing in Arizona. Republican governor, Republican Secretary of State, they have said we did our job and we did it well. What now is your complaint? And now you have Lindsey Graham, who is a senator elected out of the state of South Carolina, calling Georgia, calling Arizona, calling Nevada, getting involved. And you know, I guess I can agree, Kim, what you said when you said some of these jokers just punks. Because I would have just, bruh, don't call here no more. You don't have nothing to do with what will go on in the elections in this here state. Hang the phone up and talk to somebody in South Carolina who wants to hear what you have to say, not him. Go ahead, Paulette.
But the problem is with that is, like Kim said earlier, once they start convening in session and talking about this bill and that bill, and them actually trying to reach across the party lines to make sense of things and to come together and work for us, then it's going to be some pushback. They're going to say, well, hey, you didn't catch our back when we needed you. We're not going to catch yours, now that you need us. And it's whether President Biden and Vice President Harris be able to do the agenda and the things that they want to do within these 4 years is going to be hard. Like she said, even with Obama, they felt like they gave that man all kinds of hell trying to get things that he wanted to do that would have benefited the people. But because it was coming from the person that it was coming from, they gave him a lot of pushback. Yes. Chris said Georgia Secretary said received threats from these guys, and they did. They actually threatened their lives, and that's ridiculous. And they're gonna hit them where it hurt the most when they convene in session. They're going to bring their bills, things that they want to see done, things that they're going to need, help that they're going to need for their states, and it's going to be dead on the floor.
May I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Okay, so with this whole Pennsylvania lawmakers, and it was this Wisconsin
Michigan
lawmakers, when they went Michigan, when they went there, who gets away with that? Who gets away with that? Calling in the people who are responsible for the votes. Who gets away with being able to have a meeting with them, and it'd be okay? Could you imagine the craziness, all the names that they would have called President Obama or any Democrat for that matter, had someone done that on the other side? But they're lawless. They're lawless. I don't trust anything that they say ever again, because they are showing you exactly who they are.
Well, that's why I titled this segment as I have. What's happening to our democracy? A president out of control. Because it appears to me that their leader is looking America right in the face and saying, this is what I'm going to do. And for me, I'm wondering, if you are one of those Michigan, Lisa, I'm going to come to you in just a moment, I promise. If you're one of those Michigan state lawmakers Why would you get on the plane and go to the White House? Don't come to us and say, well, we met with him, but it's not going to change anything. Then what you meet with him for?
Oh, the coronavirus. That's what they said.
And you go on the Corona headquarters at 1600 Black Lives Matter Plaza. But anyway, you go on the Corona headquarters just to come out and tell us that they had no influence on you. Why did you go there? Why did you go there? And so I'm wondering, do you see what I see? Now, Alyssa has said something here. She said, Trump has a strong hold on the Republican Party. He will be pulling strings. Let me tell you what I think. I said this in 2016. Man, I've been saying this, and it seems like anybody listening. Trump changed elections forever, not just at the national level, but everywhere. I'm going to tell you what he did. Now, he was smart to do it. The Republican establishment did not want Trump. Go roll the tape from 2015, 2016. Those who lick his boots and kiss his ring now, they said all kind of horrible things about him. They made the same observations that we did. This dude is a crook. There's something not right about his character, right? But now it's been a total turnaround. What he did was he took his case to the people. And our two-party system has taken the power from the people. We send our representatives and our senators to Washington, and they don't represent us any longer. They do what the party leaders tell them to do. You vote how I tell you to vote. And that's not representing me. I didn't send you there for that. But what Trump did was say, bump y'all. I'm going to take my case to the people. The people rose up and said, Republican establishment, you don't want them, but I do. And that's what they fear. They fear the people. Because Trump don't need them. He didn't need your favor. You talk about him like a dog, and the people chose him. And so, Alisa, I agree with you. He has a stronghold on the party. But, now, Kim, I know you said the Democrats may be some punks, but it's a whole nother word I would use for the other side. But I'm a man of God. I can't say that kind of stuff, but I can think it. So I appreciate that, Alyssa. Michigan met with him to make future deals. Yeah, they made some deals, but it doesn't look right. It does not look right. And we have to be concerned about appearances. And that's why I asked, what's happening to our democracy? This does not look right. What are y'all thinking?
Okay, again, the views of Paulette Howard are not necessarily the views of Carl's Conversation, and all those are that attend. Here you go. Trump had politics is a dirty business. You have secrets, you have lies, you have behind the door dealings, under the table contracts. And before Trump got into office, he was still a man of power. He, by name, he may not have, as the record shows, that he didn't have any money, but he still had his clout. So when you have someone that is known to deal behind the doors, work under the table, have people that can find out your dirty secrets, then there's a way to get you on their side. So do I fly to Michigan when the president says, you need to come see me? Yeah, because I don't want my dirt to get out. I don't want the things that I did underhanded to get me in office to get out, to keep him, in the office. I need to do what, when he got my butt over a sling, I need to get where I need to go. And a lot of it for me, this is what it is. And it always have been from the moment he got into office. Okay, who can I make sure is on my side? I need secrets. I need dirty dealings. I need bank reports. I need this, that, and the third, so that I know who I can hold over the threshold when time comes. And this is our scare tactic. This is our intimidation tactic. This is our bullying. And this what this presidency has come to. It's just to be bullied. We've been bullied as a nation because our lawmakers can't stand up to what he's trying to do. because like Kim said, it is time for us to buck up and get in a fight. It's unfortunately may get ugly before it get any better, but it don't have to be, but that's what it is.
I got you. Kim, it looked like you got something to say. I want to hear this.
Actually, I'm listening. Some good conversation.
It is awesome. Here's one of my frequent flyers here. My little brother. He says, I would recommend watching Vance Jones' TED Talk. He predicted a possible coup in October. He's not the only one. It's people that's been talking about it. Thank you for that, brother. I appreciate it. It's people that's been talking about this. Listen, you could see this coming. I often use these analogies. I never stick my hand into water and expect my hand not to be wet, because the nature of water is to be wet. Even when water is not in its liquid form, stick your hand in some steam, it's going to burn, but you're going to walk away with moisture on your hand. Put an ice cube in your hand. The heat from your hand going to start melting it immediately, still going to be wet. You can't put a dog in your house and tell the dog not to bark. It's the nature of the dog to bark. You play with a snake, you shall be bitten. It is the nature of the snake to bite you. I keep saying this. There is nothing that our president is doing that surprises me, because I believe that he conducts himself as he is. And once again, I didn't come on the air to bash Donald Trump. That's not my goal. I said I would deal with this later. I am an independent for a reason. I see things in both parties that I like, but I see things in both parties that I despise and I just cannot attach myself to. Mainly how both of them deal with the poor, right? And I really do despise how both of them, to a certain extent, claim that God is more with them than the other. I don't think that Jesus would have been a Democrat nor a Republican. I don't think he would have been considered all liberal or all conservative. He is something totally different. Politics is a dirty, dirty business. And dirty, dirty people do really good at it. You got something for us, Kim?
I do. So I'm just sitting here. I'm like, oh man, I got excited because I know that by January, and maybe even, January he'll be out of office, but around February, March, that New York Attorney General is coming for that butt, coming for him. We are in store for such a treat, because I do believe, like God says, he'll fight our battles. Now, this is a battle against Trump that only God can really do. That's a battle for him, because all the dirt and all the underhandedness, and remember, we were just talking about it being a dirty, like politics is extremely dirty. Yes. And when you throw the rock and hide your hands, eventually we're going to know and see who you are. It's coming. Like they said, the roosters or the chickens have come home to roost.
Yes.
Or whatever. Like, it's coming. Yeah. Our day is coming. Like when he leaves under the shield of presidency, his whole family is going down. And we know it's going to be white collar crimes. Joe Biden bet not pardon him. I'll tell you that right now.
I think he
bet
is.
Not pardon him.
But
you know what? I think pardons only last for federal crimes, but not states.
That's right.
So there's still hope. There's still hope. Don't you do it, Joe. Don't you do it. But go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you why I think that Joe will do it. I think that he will allow him to be convicted first. And there's a reason for that. But I think he will allow him to be convicted. But I think for the health and safety of the nation, for the sake of peace, I think he'll be the bigger man and say, even though he was all of these negative things, he still belongs to a fraternity that only a very few persons have belonged to. And that is being a past president of these United States. And that in itself affords itself certain privileges. Now, I can tell you that I can see it. I can understand it. I don't know yet if I all the way agree with it. That one got to sit with me for a while. Now, the flesh in me want to say, let that joker sit for a little while. Um, but the part of me that sees everything else says it may be the right move. And his little brother, he said he could resign and have VP Pence become the 40 sentence and pardon him. Yeah, I thought about that too, but I think his ego won't let him do that. I don't think ego. Alyssa says Joe will not pardon him. Nope, Joe, no. I think that's wishful thinking. Because none of us know. We are just speculating. Yeah, that's a good word for it. You know, Alyssa said something earlier. I want to cover real quick. Maybe this will be our last thing before we roll up out of here. You know, I really do believe that Donald Trump would have won re-election had he led properly during Corona. I've heard so many of my friends who are Republicans defend him and say that, you know, it was never his job to do blah, blah, blah. The states should have always done that. That has partial truth for me. Of course, the governors have to step up and do X, Y, and Z. But this is a worldwide problem, and it was affecting every American. And I think that we deserved to have a show enough leader step up and say, I am going to make sure that the federal government does everything and anything to make sure we save American lives. And there's some who will argue with me and say, well, he did a lot of things behind closed doors. It's just that publicly he said X, Y, and Z. I do not accept that. Leaders lead. I was a non-commissioned officer in the Army. And let me tell you something that I learned about leadership real quick. You never, ever, ever, ever pass the buck. Anything that went down of any unit that I was in charge of, Sergeant Carl Armstrong had to give an account. There's no passing the buck. It was my job to effectively communicate and influentially lead. And it was not taken well to come back and say that any task assigned or any mission was incomplete. You understand what I'm saying? You take responsibility for what you have done wrong, and you absolutely take care of the people who are assigned to you. And that's what I am disappointed in his leadership. He didn't take that role. We didn't need somebody to come bang their hand and point blame. It's the China virus. We know where it started. I know where it started. But it's here, bro. And we need it for you to be the leader. And I think that's where he lost the election. Even with impeachment, I think he was still going to win. But when we saw our relatives and people that we know get sick and wither away with something that could have, he didn't cause the virus now. He didn't cause anyone to get sick, but his lack of leadership allowed this thing to get loose in a way that it never should have. What do y'all think about it?
I totally agree with you, Carl. I feel like he would have won the election the second time if it had not been for coronavirus, even in the midst of his impeachment, because he had the backing. And had he led us through this in a manner that a leader should have and took responsibility, every leader that we've had in the past where something went drastically long, they fell on their sword and said, as your leader, as your president, as your commander in chief, I did wrong. And for that, I apologize. When it came down to him saying those words, he blamed every Tom, Dick, and Harry he could find instead of saying Donald Trump did wrong. And with that, the people that would have backed him saying just what you're saying, no, you did not do. You can't blame this, that, and the third, or you cannot blame everybody and you go away scot-free. He even He even put it on us. He put it on China. He put it on African American people, saying that we're the ones that's carrying the virus when we're the ones that's most affected by the virus. So he blamed everybody that he could throw a dart and hit, and not, take on blame as the leader. And like you said, a leader leads. A leader has to say when they mucked it up. He messed it up. He messed it up. And it, like I said earlier, had he just gone by the playbook, there was a playbook left for you, that the it would be something as different as if the American people did not know you were left a playbook, but we knew you were left a specific set of instructions, a specific set of people that is ready to act when this thing hit because they saw it coming. And you said, nope, don't need you, goodbye, thank you for your service. Rip the book up, throw it away, don't want it. And now look where we are.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, I think he would have won had not it been for that. He still would not have had my vote, but hey.
When I had mine either.
I think it is absolutely deplorable. I think had he used the playbook, for the coronavirus, I too think that he would have gotten reelected. But I think because he's a narcissist, because he is an opportunist, because he is all about Donald Trump, he does everything to deflect. He does not take ownership of anything. He's going to deflect. I think it was in poor taste. Be it came from China, whatever, to call it China virus or whatever. I think that's so disrespectful. Where he said, African Americans, da 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 da. Everything is just done in poor taste. I even said, and I don't wish coronavirus on anyone, but I had even gotten to a place where I said, well, maybe if he is affected by coronavirus, then maybe he will have a different outlook. Again, I'm not wishing anything bad on anybody, but even in that case, he got this Superman. He went to Walter Reed because he is the president. He got the best of the best care, and then he, catapulted into this superhero, and then it's just like, I'm better than I was before, and it's really crazy, to know that, it's just really crazy that even though he is where he is. Yeah, anyway, I digress.
What you think, Kim?
First, I just want the record to reflect. I don't think I will ever accept that he had that many votes, ever. I do not believe that it was that many people ever who voted for Trump. Definitely, Hillary Clinton had her issues, but there were enough intelligent people who knew who Donald Trump was, who he represented, to not vote that many times. I think they definitely shot the numbers up because they were trying to combat the mail-in ballot situation. That's why his numbers was the greatest. Like, really, do you know how much of a great president you have to be in order to get so many votes? Out of all the presidents we had in the United States of America, you really think that Donald Trump is the one who got the most votes out of any president in the United States? Like, you messed up on so many issues, including coronavirus, but you still managed to get the most votes of any sitting president. Come on now. Come on now. Don't play me. Don't play me. I won't ever accept that. But moving on to the other point that was being made, he showed us exactly who he was. We knew that he didn't have leadership capabilities because we had 4 years for him to prove it to us. We already knew that. So he was going to lose regardless. He was going to lose. He just wasn't supposed to lose by this many. Okay? The other thing that I wanted to mention, there you go. The other thing that I wanted to mention was when they found out, white people, I'm not saying this as a racist thing, it's a fact. When they found out that the coronavirus was affecting blacks and people of color, that's when they started to tamper back on their efforts. At first, I mean, and we're not talking about when he was in there talking about, oh, it's the flu, this and that. Like, we're not talking about that time period. But when the numbers really started to rise, they had kind of started, that's when they did the task force and some other things. But when they found out that it was affecting African Americans, they started to be like, oh, okay, so it's affecting them. I want to say the N word, but it's affecting them. It's not affecting us. So that's when you started to see the resistance on wearing the mask, and oh, you're this is against our right to be able to work, and we can't go to the beauty salon and can't do this and can't do that. This is infringing upon our right as Americans. They weren't talking like that until they found out that it affected us, because they're like, oh, it's not affecting us, so I can go to work, I can still make money. It was Keisha Lance Bottoms, it was Angela Rye, Van Jones, and a couple other ones that rang the alarm, and it needed to be done because we as African Americans and people of color, we needed to hear it. We needed to hear it as a wake up call. So it's unfortunate that they had to make the announcement, but it worked out for our good, because now what are we doing? We're like, oh no, we got to protect Big Mama, we got to protect Big Daddy, we got to protect our people who have diabetes and pre-existing conditions. It's taking us out of here. So unfortunately, had they not done it, we would have been dying more in higher numbers. But they had to ring an alarm in our community. But other than that, he was going to mess it up anyway. Nobody expected this dude to rise to the occasion. Who was it? You, Carl? Was it you?
No.
You tell us the truth.
No. Oh no. I saw that coming a mile away.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Listen, I don't trust anybody that will tell me to ingest Clorox to get the disease out
He
of
was
my body.
just joking, Paulette. He was just joking.
Of
Sure
course he was.
He
Yeah.
knows better.
Of course he was.
Come on.
Of
Mhm.
course he was.
You guys give him a break. Come on.
Oh,
Come on.
poor little tink.
Right.
I find it funny, and my wife talked about this ad nauseum. Now, you had folks running around with long guns at the state capitol because they wanted the right not to have to wear a mask and go get a haircut. But those were the same people who couldn't understand why there were demonstrations when black people get killed by the popo. Now, I know that was unfair for me to throw that in right at the end of the show. I know, but I did that for a cliffhanger. Listen, this conversation has been so good. I think I'm gonna do part 2 tomorrow. And so I'm tell you right now, Chris Tucker and Majordomo, y'all consider yourselves invited. And Alyssa, stop playing, girl. Come on, let's do this. And we may even ask Kim to come back. Kim, did we treat you well enough for you to come back one of these days? Maybe if you can't come tomorrow, but did we treat you well enough?
I enjoyed it. I really did. I can't wait to, like, when we see each other face to face, we're gonna have a good old time, right?
Yeah, that's right. Hey, listen, I want my audience to know. Listen, I do not prep my panelists. I had a longer conversation with Kim today that I've had with any of my panelists in a while. And what was that, 3 minutes? We went back and forth on Facebook Messenger because this is her first time, and she was just trying to understand what she was getting herself in, and that's it. I do that so that we can have an organic conversation, and I don't make it a habit of asking people whether they're Democrat, Republican, whatever. Don't matter to me. I like all kind of people. But what I do want to do before we close out, I want to give you an opportunity to maybe it's something that we didn't cover that you wanted to say, a point that you wanted to make. And we'll start with Paulette and give us some closing comments, maybe something that we didn't say that you wanted to say. You got the microphone.
Only thing I wanted to say was that when President Biden gave his speech, it was very calm. It was very soothing. I think I told my children it was like listening to Pop Pop tell you that, all right, you've been acting ugly for way too long. Now it's time for you to stop cutting up. You get ready to go out to college, do what your mama tell you to do, and even to just standing there. And I think we all stood there like the Three Stooges listening to what he said. And it was very calming and it was very soothing. And my son added incomplete sentences. So I appreciate the way that they handled this and the way that they are handling this election and the pushbacks that they are getting. I am praying, which we always pray that, the Bible tells us to pray for those that have rule over us and our government. So I am always praying that the things that they try to do is going to be for the betterment of the people. I am especially praying for Vice President Harris. God bless your soul. I am deeply proud as an African American woman. I am very much proud of you, my sister. If it ever gets to your ears, we are backing you. So, just continue to look up, continue to look forward. I hope that we can find some common ground to work. I hope that the parties can find some common ground to work together, because it's not about them. It's not about the president. It's about the people. So if they can keep that in mind, I think we'll work out better. And we're going to stop being a bunch of punks, Democrats, as Kim said.
Thank you so much, Paulette. Kim, I want to give you an opportunity to have some closing comments. Maybe it's something that we didn't get to today, or just something that you want to address to the audience. I like to do this before we close out. Please go ahead.
Okay, well, I think I got out just about everything. This was like a good session. It was like therapeutic. I know my sister's happy I can talk to somebody else other than her about politics. You know how that goes. But the thing that I want to say is that has been on my heart is I hope that we have some good white people that can tell us what and if something is coming down the pipe. Like these Proud Boys that that are out and about and doing their dirty deeds and things like that. I'm just really hoping that we have commonality and some allies that will step up. And I've had this conversation with my sister before. When it comes to the Civil War thing, if they try, you got to understand this is different than in 1800s. The U.S. government or the military has way many, has a lot of branches. It's like 4 or 5 different branches, and people who served in the military, who serve in the military actively and who used to serve, have families of different races. So you can best believe if it were a situation where it's going to rise up, our military would take care of them. Whereas they can have as many guns and all this other foolishness that they have all in their house. The U.S. government has bombs. They can tear your whole house apart within a couple seconds. So I don't know what they think that could possibly happen, but they bet not try. But what I will say is that I pray for like all of our leaders, but I'm especially vigilant and praying for the incoming administration, because I don't know what they may try to do. We haven't had an assassination in a long time, but we don't know if there are going to be any attempts, and God forbid that they would be any attempts on, taking their lives, because they're taking it so seriously and so personally. That's what I want to say. It's so personal to them. Instead of it's like, okay, it was an election, let's move on. The same way we had to suck it up with having Trump, who is the least qualified person ever in modern day history, let's go there, to serve in office. So I want them to suck it up. But other than that, I want to know if there's something that's being plotted or planned. That's my main concern. I want to say thank you for the opportunity. It was an honor and a true pleasure being here with you all tonight.
Well, Kim, thank you too, and you did very well. Some people come on
Thank
first time, they're
you.
really nervous. You did good, and I hope
Thanks.
that now I'm gonna tell you something that I do. Uh, I got a list of all these people that I know and deal with, right? But once you come onto one of my platforms, I put your name in a whole nother column, especially when you come on and do as well as you did, right?
Oh, thanks.
I really appreciate it. And let me tell you, I don't agree with everything my panelists say. Every session, whether it's Heart for the Community Initiative or it's Carl's Conversations, I hear stuff I don't agree with. I don't bring people on the show to agree or disagree with them. I bring people on the show because Carl's Conversations is a safe place to have difficult conversations. That's why I do it. See how we did that?
I
And
do.
and we don't get anywhere without talking it out. See, you say you felt better. A lot of times that's what we need to do. Some of our guests will never come. They're just not the type of people that's going to come on a platform like this. But it's therapeutic for them to hear somebody talk about it, whether they agree or disagree. I tell all the people who stand and start disagreement, hit me up. You can come on. I only have one rule: be respectful, because it's my platform, not yours. You be disrespectful on your platform. On mine, be respectful. And I even if I see things 180 degrees opposite of you, I will always treat you with courtesy and respect, because that's how my mama raised me. I got a slapping mama. She still she yet lives. She right-handed. She keep that thing cocked and locked. And I ain't scared of her that much. But I love her.
Yeah. Look, I say some things from a good distance because I gotta judge that hand. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, "Oh, am I far enough back to say this? Am I?"
My mama just got that new knee too. I can't mess with it. This is what I want to know from the audience. Does anybody want to see part 2 tomorrow? If I get enough people to say they want to do part 2, I'll do it. And I already got some people in mind that I'm going to invite. I already called a couple of them out. There were some people who I wanted to be on tonight's show who wanted to be here also, but they couldn't. And just to let people know, I'm going to do a much better job going into 2021 with scheduling these. Sometime with Carl's Conversation, I just put them together. Heart for the Community Initiative is more planned. And so I'm working on my December and January calendar right now for Carl's Conversations and and Heart for the Community Initiative. So you'll get more than a 2 or 3 hour notification. I think Kim and I have never worked together like this before, and it was a last minute request. And she honored it. She did ask some questions, and she won't let me get her up and make a fool out of her. I respect that, sister. Well,
hey Kim, but he don't do me like that. I guess that's how the old shoes get.
That's right.
Yeah.
Once we spend a little more time together, I'm gonna give you about 30 minutes. Kim, come on, let's get it, baby. We got to get it.
I know, right?
Well, look, Alyssa said yes. That's the only yes I got so far. I'm gonna take y'all silence as yes. So after we get off, Tisha and I will talk about it if we can fit it in the schedule tomorrow. But if I make the decision, I'll make it tonight so I can send notification out and get my panel together. So thank you, Paulette. Thank you, Kim, and thank all of you out there in Carl's Conversations land. You've been awesome as an audience once again. We do thank God for you. You could have been doing a lot of things, but you spent this hour and 18 minutes with us, and we really do appreciate it. So until next time, we say, may God bless you and may heaven smile upon you, and y'all have a great evening.